Hey guys, what's up? My name's Adam and welcome to Jamsville. So if you've been getting bored of playing the same chords over and over, then this video's for you. I'm going to be going over 5 different chord voicings that are sure to grab the audience's attention when you play them. And I'm going to go over how they're constructed so you can immediately start applying them to your own music. Before we get started, if you're new to this channel and you're interested in more lessons about guitar, harmony, improvising, music theory, or anything else having to do with music, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new uploads. Alright guys, let's jump right into the lesson. So the chord progression that I was playing in the beginning of the video incorporates all 5 voicings that we're going to be looking at today. The first one is going to be the following chord voicing. So even though this chord is a bit of a stretch to play, the actual shape is pretty easy to visualize. All you have to do is bar down here in the 3rd fret, and then your pinky just has to grab this A note on the 4th string 7th fret. It's technically a suspended 2 chord, but you can use it as a substitute for minor 7 chord as well. So we have the notes C, A, B flat, D, and G. This works out to being the root, the major 6th, the minor 7, the 9, and then the 5th. The reason that this is a suspended chord is because a suspended chord is when there is no 3rd in the chord and we replace it either with a 2 or a 4. In this case, there's no 4, but there is a 2, so it's a suspended 2 chord. So you can use this anywhere you'd use a suspended chord, and you can also use it as a substitute, like I said, for a minor 7 chord. Even though it doesn't have a minor 3rd in it, the minor 7th still kind of gives it a minor-y type of sound. The really defining characteristic, I think, that makes this voicing sound really great is this minor 2nd interval here between the A and the B flat notes. It gives the voicing, which otherwise sounds very open, an interesting dissonance hidden within that openness. Alright guys, chord number 2 is going to be this chord. So this chord is going to be starting on the same root note as the first chord. It's almost the same shape as the first chord, except now the A is an A flat and the D is an E flat instead. This gives us the root, minor 6th, minor 7th, minor 3rd, and 5th. This is a really cool voicing, obviously, for using as a minor chord in and of itself. It perfectly outlines the sound of the natural minor scale, which has a flat 3, flat 7, and flat 6 in it, all in one chord voicing. But another way that I like to think of this is actually using it as a major voicing instead. What do I mean by that? Well, instead of treating this C on the bottom as a root note, we can treat that as the 3rd of an A flat major chord. That's with the A flat and the bass. If there's an A flat in the bass, now this C becomes the 3rd. Then the A flat is a root. Then the B flat is a 9th. The E flat is the 5th. And then the G is the major 7th. You can also use it with an F in the bass. This will make it like an F minor 11 chord. In relation to the note F, the C is the 5th, A flat is the minor 3rd, B flat is the 11th, E flat is the flat 7, and G is the 9th. So that one is a particularly versatile and useful voicing. Alright guys, chord voicing number 3. This one is a really cool, wide sounding chord voicing. It goes like this. So now we're using A flat as our root note. So we have A flat, E flat, B flat, E flat again, G, and C. As you can see, this is another one of these 5-fret stretch voicings. The hardest part to get used to is going to be the bottom 3 notes. You're going to put your index finger on the 4th fret of the low E string, then middle finger on the 6th fret of the A string, and then pinky on the 8th fret of the D string. And then you're actually going to bar down with your pinky, which can be quite a challenge. This is also basically an A flat major 9 voicing, which can be used for any A flat major 7 chord. So we have the root, 5th, 9th, 5th again, major 7th, and 3rd. The thing that gives this voicing the really open sound it has is, again, the bottom 3 notes. We have 2 perfect 5th intervals stacked on top of each other. That's a really cool sounding chord structure that is very useful for all kinds of different chords. Just that structure alone can be used as a substitute for major chords, minor chords, suspended chords, dominant chords, almost any kind of chord. Alright guys, chord voicing number 4. Sounds like this. This one is definitely going to be the easiest to play in terms of the left hand stretching. Even though this chord sounds complex, it really isn't. All it is a B flat triad over an A flat bass note. So we have this structure that I'm playing on the 3rd fret with my index finger, just barring down the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings. This is actually a B flat major triad in 2nd inversion. But since the bass note kind of determines what all the other notes in a given chord are really functioning as, having the A flat in the bass gives it a completely different quality than just playing it alone. If I put a B flat in the bass underneath the B flat triad, it would just sound like a basic B flat major bar chord. But now we have an A flat in the bass. And because of that, we're going to use A flat as our root note to determine what all the other intervals in the chord are. So we have A flat, the root. Then we have an F note, which is the major 6th in relation to A flat. Then we have a B flat note, which is the major 9th. And then we have a D note, which is actually the sharp 11, or sharp 4. Sharp 4 and sharp 11 are essentially the same thing. So if we think of this in terms of Roman numerals, we could just say that it's a 2/1 chord, because B flat is 2 in relation to A flat, a 2 major chord over 1. Those 3 notes in the B flat major triad are basically all of the quote color tones in relation to A flat. There's no root, 3rd, 5th, or 7th. It's only 9th, sharp 11, and 6th, or 13 you could call it. Even though there's no major 3rd in the chord, it's sort of implied because the overtone series actually does have a major 3rd in it. And because of that sharp 11 interval, it actually gives it a really bright Lydian sound. As opposed to if I raised that note a half step and didn't have the sharp 11. That's just a more regular major type of sound. Alright guys, last but not least, chord voicing number 5 sounds like this. So, yet again, we have another A flat major chord. We have A flat in the bass, and then we have this structure on top. We're putting our pinky on the 5th fret of the D string, middle finger on the 3rd fret of the G string, and then barring the 1st fret on the B and E strings. Now in relation to the A flat bass note, this gives us G, the major 7th, B flat, the major 9, C, the major 3rd, and F, the major 6th. Again, this is another one of those 5 fret stretches. This voicing also has a really nice open sound because of this major 2nd interval here between the B flat and the C. And then also the perfect 4th interval between the C and the F. These big stretches on the guitar are unfortunately a result of the fact that it's really hard actually to play minor 2nd and major 2nd intervals. On guitar, they require big stretches, and when we're trying to get all these different color tones into our chords, we're just forced to play a lot of major 2nds and minor 2nds in the chord voicings. So again, this chord voicing can be used as an A flat major 7. It's technically an A flat 6-9 chord with the major 7 in it. And we could also just use it if we put a G in the bass. It's actually like a G minor 11 chord. All these chord voicings are really versatile for use in a bunch of different contexts. And learning how they're constructed all by themselves can really help your knowledge of chords and intervals. Make sure you're really paying attention to what those notes are, and more importantly, the chord tone relationships. When working on these chords, I think it's best to just pick one voicing at a time and really try to dig deep and understand how that voicing sounds and works, and try playing it over different bass notes. If you have access to a piano, a good exercise can be play the bass note on the piano and hold it out with the pedal, and then play the chord on guitar. If you want to practice switching between the voicings, you can play the progression that I was playing in the beginning of this video, which I'll show you one more time here with the tabs on screen. Alright guys, that does it for today's lesson. Go take these luscious, attention-grabbing chords and throw them into your music and see how people react to it. The thing about these chord voicings is they're very lush, open, and very piano-like voicings. So practice plugging some of them in and make your music sound more sophisticated almost immediately. Again, if you're interested in more videos like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my new posts. Alright guys, until next time. Listen, learn, and jam.